So I'm going to talk today about some of the accommodations that your child can get on standardized assessments. So that is different than the classroom accommodations. They definitely have to pair up because you don't get an accommodation on standardized testing if it is not an accommodation that they need in the classroom. Okay, so I just want to give you guys a list of the ones that I think are the most significant, and I'm going to go over three. I know I'm trying to stick with the theme of three, but I'm going to go over three in this video because I think that there's probably 5 to 10 that are really significantly important for a lot of kids with disabilities. So the first one is the time. So it could be time and a half, it could be double time, it could be more than double time. So that basically says for as much time as your child needs within the day to complete the assessment. And so if you've got that kid who is just time is the enemy of, you might want to go with that one. But you also need to be really careful because if you give your kid double time and a half, which is all the time they need, are they really just going to sit there and not do anything? So you got to think about your individual child and what is appropriate to them. The next one has to do with group size. So a lot of kids need one-on-one for standardized testing. If they're getting one-on-one in a classroom to learn new concepts, then they need one-on-one when they're taking a standardized test because those results are very serious. So you want to have it set up to whatever the best learning environment is for that child needs to take place during the standardized assessments. There's small group like up to 3. There is 4 to 10, 11 to 16. So you want to think very carefully. Some kids actually do better staying inside the classroom during the testing. So again, you need to have these conversations with your team, with your teacher to find out where do they perform best on assessments. It may be in the classroom. It may not be coming out into a smaller one-on-one even. So if that's going to be too stressful for them and coming out of the classroom is going to be stressful and they're not going to be able to focus and attend on the task at hand, then you just leave them where they are. Testing with a familiar person in a familiar place. For so many kids who are very regimented in the way that they perform best, and that they will be really uneasy with somebody who they don't know, this is a really important accommodations. You want their stress level to be as low as you can on that day. So don't stress them out in the morning. Don't make a big deal about testing. Just make them feel as comfortable as they can. And I encourage you to use reinforcements and let them know that no matter how good they do, that they're going to get some kind of reward at the end of the day. If you can, even send in something special that the teacher can give them after the assessments are over. Increase opportunity for movement. A lot of kids need to get up and move. Not everybody performs best when their bottom is in their chair. There are kids who need to stand up and lean over the desk as they take assessments. It's okay. If they need to do that, let them do it. It's all good. Reader to read non-reading items. So that allows a proctor to read the instructions, to read some of the material, but the test is a reading test. So they're going to need to read the text in order to show reading comprehension, their ability to comprehend what it is that they're reading. So if it's a reading test, the proctor is not going to read the story for them. They're going to have to read that. On a math test, they can read everything. They could read the questions, the answers, everything. They can read everything to them. On the science assessment, if your state does a science assessment, they can read everything to them. It's not a reading test, it's a science and science information test. Repeat, clarify, and summarize test directions so that they're sure that the student really understands what it is that they're expected to do. Provide verbal encouragement. I know that seems like one that we shouldn't have to really put in an IEP, but it's there. So, I perform best when people tell me that I'm doing a good job. And so we want to make sure that we tell kids that you're doing a good job. Keep up the great work. I love how you're working, and to build that into the assessment process. Brief testing sessions with breaks. Everybody needs breaks, especially when it's something that's hard. And for a lot of kids with disabilities, these tests are really hard. And so we want to make sure that they have the breaks that they need so they can catch a breather and come back and hopefully feel a little refreshed. And plus too, if they know that it's broken down into small little pieces, I think that they'll be less stressed about it overall. And won't think that this is the most horrifying experience I've ever had. So we want to make sure that they get the breaks that they need so they can perform at their optimum. Specific time of day for the test or the subtests. A lot of kids perform best first thing in the morning, but there are some kids who perform best after lunch. So you might want to add something in there where they take it at a certain time of day. Use of assistive technology. If you have a child who performs best and communicates best when they have a specific form of communication or technology, you want to make sure that that's in there. In many states, it requires a specialized approval. So you want to start on that one early. You don't want to wait till the last minute right before the testing is coming to determine that, oh yeah, wait a minute, my kid actually needs to be able to use the device in order to do that. Particularly for writing assessments. If your state takes a writing assessment and your child needs to use a form of technology to type their writing rather than a pencil and a piece of paper, you want to write that in there because that's really important. That could really literally make it or break it for many kids. On the writing assessment, if your child needs to dictate rather than handwrite or use technology, if your child needs to be able to dictate to somebody else what their essay is, that is an allowable accommodation. So those are the top ones that come to my mind, and there are many others. So check out your state's Department of Education website. You'll find some information there. But you really want to be informed about what the potential accommodations are for your child during standardized testing so that when you're sitting at your IEP table with the team, that you're able to be an active participant in helping to make some decisions that really are going to significantly impact your child. Because again, if your child is removed from standards, it will change their elementary projection into where they're going to go in the future, the type of assessments that they're going to take, their opportunities for college or trade school. So you want to make sure that you are aware of what those big decisions mean, how to give your kid access to the supports that they need so that they can take the standardized assessments and to perform at the optimum level that they can. Okay? Good luck.